A dying wolf cub drags himself out of a raging river, barely alive, hypothermic, and fading fast. His mother watches from the shore, helpless. But what she does next will shatter everything we thought we knew about wolf behavior. In the next few minutes, you're going to witness a mother's love push the boundaries of nature itself. A moment so extraordinary that scientists still struggle to explain it. This is the story of survival, instinct, and a bond so powerful it defies the laws of biology. The morning sun filters through the towering pine trees, casting golden light across the forest floor in long, deliberate strokes. The shadows dance and shift with the gentle breeze, creating patterns that seem almost alive. A wolf pack rests in their den. Mothers, fathers, and cubs curled together in the safety of their territory. Their bodies intertwined in a tangle of fur and warmth. The den itself is ancient, carved into the hillside generations ago, a sanctuary that has sheltered countless wolves through countless seasons. But our story begins with one cub. His name doesn't matter. What matters is that he's perfect. Absolutely, undeniably perfect. Healthy beyond measure. Strong despite his youth. Born just 8 weeks ago into a world that will test every fiber of his being, every ounce of his courage, every instinct he possesses. His mother watches him play with his siblings, wrestling and tumbling over each other in the dirt outside the den. Their bodies roll and twist, their tiny jaws snapping playfully at each other. They growl, not in anger, but in joy. This is how they learn. Through play, through competition, through the endless dance of dominance and submission that will shape who they become. His mother is vigilant, always watching, always alert, never allowing her attention to waver for even a moment. This is her purpose. This is her life. To protect, to nurture, to keep her cubs alive in a world that wants them dead. Every shadow could hide danger. Every sound could signal a threat. She is the barrier between her cubs and the infinite cruelty of nature. The pack is preparing for the hunt. The adults are restless, their muscles tense with anticipation, their bodies coiled like springs ready to release. The river nearby promises fresh water and, if they're lucky, salmon. The promise of food drives them forward. The river is both life-giver and provider, a source of sustenance that they depend on for survival. It's early summer, the season of abundance. The season when nature opens its hand and offers gifts. The season when food is plentiful and the chances of survival increase exponentially. The cubs are old enough now to venture closer to the water, to learn the boundaries of their world, to understand the landscape that will become their hunting ground. Our cub is curious, dangerously curious, recklessly curious. He wanders toward the sound of rushing water, drawn by something primal, the need to explore, to understand his territory, to push the boundaries of what he's allowed to do. His siblings remain behind, but not him. He's different. He's bolder. He's the kind of cub who will either become the strongest wolf in the pack or the first to die. His mother follows at a distance, maintaining a careful balance between protection and freedom. She lets him roam, but never loses sight of him. Not for a second, not for a moment. Her eyes track his every movement. This is how wolves learn. Through exploration, through small risks that build into survival skills, through mistakes that don't kill them. The river comes into view, and it's breathtaking. It's beautiful and terrible at once, a contradiction of nature. The water is high from spring snowmelt, churning with power and momentum that seems almost alive. The current is swift, dangerous, unforgiving. Rocks jut from the water like broken teeth. The spray rises up in a mist that catches the sunlight and creates tiny rainbows. But to a young cub, it's just water. Just another part of his world to discover. Just another mystery waiting to be solved. He approaches the bank carefully, his small paws testing the wet rocks with cautious steps. The spray from the rapids mists his face, and he blinks against the moisture. The cold water shocks his system, but he doesn't retreat. He's drawn forward by curiosity and the irresistible pull of the unknown. He drinks from a shallow pool, his tiny tongue lapping at the cold water. It tastes fresh and clean and alive. His mother watches from 10 yards away, alert but calm. Her ears are forward, tracking the sounds around them. Her nose works constantly, reading the air for any sign of danger. This is safe. This is normal. This is what cubs do. They explore, they learn, they push boundaries. And mothers watch. They guide without controlling. They protect without smothering. But safety is an illusion in nature. It's a comfortable lie we tell ourselves. It's a false sense of security that nature is always waiting to shatter. The rocks are slick. Moss covers them like a thin layer of deception, a disguise that makes them look stable when they're anything but. The moss is wet and slippery, a death trap waiting for a paw to step on it. The cub takes another step, moving closer to the main current. He wants to see more. He wants to understand the power of this water. He wants to feel the spray on his face and taste the wildness of it all. His mother tenses slightly, a shift in her posture, a flick of her ears, a subtle change in her breathing. She senses something. Her instincts are screaming at her, warning her of danger. She takes a step forward, ready to intervene if needed. But she hesitates. She doesn't want to startle him. She doesn't want to interrupt his learning. Then it happens. The moment that will change everything. His back paw slips. It's a fraction of a second. A single moment where his grip fails him. The moss betrays him. His tiny claws, so sharp and so useful, find no purchase on the slick surface. His body lurches forward, and suddenly gravity takes over. His front paws scramble against the rocks, trying to find something, anything, to hold on to. His nails scrape against stone, but there's nothing to grip. The river has him now. He falls. The water swallows him whole. It's cold, shockingly, brutally cold. The temperature steals his breath. The current wraps around him like invisible hands, pulling him down and away. The force is immense. The power is overwhelming. This is not the gentle pool where he drank. This is the raw, untamed fury of nature in its purest form. His mother's eyes go wide. Time seems to stop. Her entire body goes rigid. Every muscle tenses. Every nerve fires. She sees her cub disappearing into the white foam and chaos of the rapids. She lunges forward, her powerful legs driving her toward the water. But she's already too late. The current has claimed him, pulling him downstream with a force that no 8-week-old cub can possibly resist. She runs along the bank, keeping pace with her drowning child. But the river moves faster than she can run. Her paws pound against the earth. Dirt flies behind her. Her breathing becomes ragged and desperate. Her eyes never leave the water, tracking the tumbling form of her cub as he's swept along by the current. The cub's head breaks the surface for just a moment, a gasp, a cry, a desperate plea for help that echoes across the canyon. His mouth opens. His eyes are wide with terror and confusion. He doesn't understand what's happening. He doesn't know why the water is so strong. He doesn't know that he's dying. His mother hears it. She sees the terror in his eyes. She witnesses the exact moment her cub realizes he's in mortal danger. And then the current pulls him under again, sweeping him around a bend and out of sight. He vanishes. One moment he's there, and the next he's gone. The river has taken him. The perfect morning has become a nightmare. The world has shifted. Everything has changed in the span of a few heartbeats. The other wolves in the pack have stopped what they're doing. They sense the disturbance. They feel the shift in the energy. Something terrible has happened. Something that will echo through their entire world. His mother stands at the riverbank, staring at the water where her cub disappeared. Her body is trembling. Her chest heaves with desperate breaths. Her eyes are locked on the rapids, searching for any sign of movement, any indication that her cub might reappear. But there's nothing. Just the relentless flow of the river. Just the sound of water crashing against rocks. She's lost him. Or has she? But what happened next would prove that a mother's love knows no boundaries, and that the real battle was only just beginning. Beneath the surface of the raging river, the cub's world becomes a blur of chaos and confusion. The water is everywhere, surrounding him, suffocating him, pulling him in every direction at once. His small body tumbles through the current like a leaf caught in a violent storm, helpless and disoriented. Up becomes down, down becomes up, left becomes right. There is no sense of direction, no sense of control, no anchor point to hold on to. There is only the overwhelming sensation of being swallowed by something infinitely more powerful than himself. Something ancient and indifferent and utterly merciless. The force of the current is beyond anything his young mind could have possibly imagined. It's not just water. It's a living thing. It's a predator. It's a force of nature that has been carving this canyon for millions of years, and now it has him in its grip. The water rushes past his small body at tremendous speed, carrying him downstream with a velocity that increases with every passing second. The rocks on the riverbed scrape against his fur as he's dragged along the bottom, leaving invisible marks that will become visible bruises later, if he survives to see later. The cold is a physical enemy. It's stealing his consciousness with every passing second that feels like an eternity. His body temperature drops rapidly, and he doesn't understand why. His young mind can't comprehend the concept of hypothermia, can't understand that his own body is betraying him, can't grasp that the cold is more dangerous than any predator he might ever face. His muscles are beginning to stiffen, becoming rigid and unresponsive. His limbs feel heavy and sluggish, as if they belong to someone else's body. The cold is wrapping around him like a blanket made of ice, suffocating him, paralyzing him, pulling him deeper and deeper into darkness with every moment that passes. This is hypothermia. This is the slow death that the river delivers to those who fall into its grip. This is the invisible killer that claims more lives than any other force in nature. This is what happens when a warm-blooded creature is exposed to water that's far colder than their body temperature. The body begins to shut down. The core temperature drops. The brain begins to malfunction. Consciousness fades. Death follows. His instincts kick in, but he's too young, too weak, too inexperienced to fight against something this powerful. His survival instincts are screaming at him to do something. Anything. But his body won't obey. His brain is sending out desperate signals, commanding his muscles to move, to swim, to fight. But the cold has made his body unresponsive. It's like being trapped in a prison made of ice, where he can feel everything but control nothing. His lungs burn, desperate for air, screaming for oxygen, demanding that he take a breath even though there's nothing but water around him. He tries to swim, but his small paws can't generate enough force to push against the current. The water is too strong. The current is too powerful. His muscles are too weak. He's like a toy in a washing machine, spinning and tumbling without any ability to control his trajectory. The water tosses him around like he weighs nothing, like he's insignificant, like he's already dead. The river is winning. The river always wins. It has won against countless creatures throughout history. It will win against this cub too. The river doesn't care about his mother's love. It doesn't care about his will to survive. It doesn't care about anything except its own inexorable flow toward the sea. His consciousness flickers like a candle in the wind, sometimes bright, sometimes dim, sometimes nearly extinguished. One moment he's aware of the pain, the cold, the terror. The next moment, darkness creeps in at the edges of his vision, threatening to consume him entirely. He's fading. His body is shutting down. His brain is protecting itself by dimming his awareness, by pulling him into a state of semi-consciousness where the pain becomes distant and muted, where the terror becomes less acute, where death doesn't seem quite so frightening. This is nature's mercy. This is the way that creatures often go, not with a bang, but with a fade, not with a struggle, but with a gentle descent into darkness. The pain lessens as consciousness fades. The fear diminishes as the mind shuts down. The body prepares itself for the end. Each second underwater feels like an eternity. Time moves differently in this place, differently than it moves anywhere else in the universe. Each heartbeat is an hour. Each breath he doesn't take is a lifetime of suffering. Each moment of consciousness is an age of agony. The pressure builds in his chest as his lungs cry out for air, as they demand oxygen, as they threaten to explode from the strain. His eyes are open, but he can't see anything. Just the murky green-brown of the river water, swirling and chaotic and utterly indifferent to his struggle. Particles of sediment float past his vision like tiny stars in a miniature universe. The current is relentless, pulling him deeper and deeper into the abyss. Rocks scrape against his small body, tearing at his fur, leaving marks and bruises that he won't remember because his mind is already beginning to forget. He's being battered and beaten by the river, subjected to forces that no 8-week-old cub should ever have to endure. His ribs ache from the impacts. His head pounds from the pressure. His entire body is screaming in pain, but the cold is numbing it all, turning his suffering into something distant and dreamlike, into something that happens to someone else. His small heart is beating erratically, pumping blood through his body in irregular patterns. It's working overtime, trying to keep him alive, trying to maintain the essential functions that separate life from death. But even his heart is beginning to slow. Even his heart is beginning to give up. Then, somehow, impossibly, his head breaks the surface. The cub gasps for air, a desperate primal sound that echoes across the water like a scream. His lungs expand as they finally receive the oxygen they've been screaming for. The cold air hits his wet face. He can see the sky. He can see the trees. He can see his mother running along the bank. For just a moment, he can breathe. For just a moment, he can see the world again. For just a moment, he can believe that he might survive this, that he might make it, that this nightmare might have an ending that doesn't involve death. But the river immediately pulls him under again. The current is too strong. His small body can't fight it. His paws are too weak. His muscles are too exhausted. He's sucked back down into the depths, and the water closes over his head once more, like the jaws of a predator. The brief moment of hope is replaced by renewed terror. A terror that's even more acute because now he knows what's happening. Now he's experienced the possibility of survival, only to have it snatched away from him. His young mind can't process the complexity of it all, but his body understands. His body knows that this is the end. His mother is running along the bank, keeping pace with her drowning child. She's faster than the current for now, but she knows this won't last. She knows that soon the river will carry her cub around a bend, out of sight, beyond her ability to follow. The forest will become too thick. The terrain will become too rough. The river will carry him away from her, and she'll be left behind, unable to help, unable to save him. Her heart is breaking with every step. Her mind is racing, searching for options, for solutions, for any possible way to save her baby. She's a mother. She's supposed to protect her cubs. She's supposed to keep them safe. She's supposed to make sure that nothing bad happens to them. And she's failing. She's failing her cub in the most fundamental way possible. She's calling out to him, a series of howls and barks that cut through the sound of the rushing water. It's a sound of desperation. It's a sound of a mother watching her child die and being unable to stop it. It's a sound that carries all of her fear, all of her rage, all of her helplessness. The other wolves in the pack have heard her cries. They're running toward the river, drawn by the urgency in her voice. They sense that something catastrophic is happening, something that will change everything. The cub's head breaks the surface again. For the second time, he gasps for air. His eyes are wide with pure animal terror, a terror so complete and so overwhelming that it seems to fill the entire universe. He sees his mother running along the bank. He sees her reaching toward him, her paws extended, her body straining toward him, even though the river separates them. He hears her calling his name, a sound that's both a comfort and a torture, because it reminds him of everything he's about to lose. For a moment, they lock eyes, mother and child, separated by the raging water that has come between them. In that moment, something passes between them. A connection, a bond, a promise, a desperate plea. His mother's eyes are filled with love and desperation and a determination that seems almost supernatural. The cub can see it. He can feel it, and it gives him strength. And then the current pulls him under once more. The river carries him around a bend, and his mother loses sight of him. She stops running. There's nowhere left to run. The forest is thick here, and the river has taken her cub beyond the point where she can follow on land. She stands at the water's edge, staring at the place where he disappeared, her body trembling with a mixture of grief and rage and helplessness. Her breathing is ragged and desperate. Her muscles are tense. Her entire being is focused on the water, searching for any sign of movement, any indication that her cub might reappear. But there's nothing. Just the relentless flow of the river. Just the sound of water crashing against rocks. Just the terrible, deafening silence that follows the disappearance of her child. Beneath the surface, the cub is fading. His consciousness is slipping away like water through a sieve. The cold has done its work. His body temperature has dropped to a point where his brain can no longer maintain full awareness. He's caught in that strange state between life and death. Not quite awake, not quite asleep, suspended in a twilight world where nothing makes sense, where pain and pleasure become indistinguishable, where fear and peace merge into something neither and both. His lungs scream for air, but he can't take another breath. His mouth is open, but there's nothing to breathe but water. His body convulses involuntarily, a last-ditch effort to survive. A final desperate attempt to find oxygen in a world that has none to give. His small heart is beating erratically, pumping blood through his body in irregular patterns that are becoming increasingly chaotic. His pupils are dilated. His lips are turning blue. His skin is becoming pale beneath his wet fur. This is the moment where most creatures would give up. This is the moment where survival becomes impossible. This is the moment where death should claim him. This is the moment where the story should end with a tragedy. A young life snuffed out before it barely began. This is the moment where a mother's love should prove insufficient against the indifferent forces of nature. But the cub isn't done fighting yet. Through the darkness, through the pain, through the cold and the terror and the overwhelming sense of drowning, something inside him refuses to quit. It's not conscious thought. It's not rational decision-making. It's not something his young brain could possibly understand. It's pure, primal survival instinct. It's the ancient code that's been written into his DNA across thousands of generations of wolves. It's the refusal to accept defeat. It's the will to live that's been passed down through countless ancestors, each of whom faced their own moments of mortal danger and chose to survive. His small body is being swept downstream, tumbling through the rapids like a piece of driftwood caught in a storm. The current is carrying him toward a series of rocks that jut out from the water like an island in the chaos, like a refuge in the middle of hell. It's a random chance. It's pure luck. It's the kind of accident that determines whether a creature lives or dies. It's the difference between a story that ends in tragedy and a story that continues into the unknown. His body crashes against one of the rocks. The impact is jarring, painful, potentially bone-breaking. But it's also salvation. For the first time since he fell into the water, he has something solid beneath him, something real, something that won't move. His small paws scrabble against the wet surface, trying to find purchase, trying to hold on, trying to prevent the current from sweeping him away again. The current is still pulling at him, trying to sweep him away, trying to reclaim him, but he's fighting with everything he has. Every ounce of strength, every bit of will, every fragment of consciousness that remains. He pulls himself up onto the rock, inch by inch, using muscles that are barely responding to his commands. His body is so cold that he can barely feel them. His consciousness is so dim that he can barely think. But his instincts are screaming at him to survive, to hold on, to keep fighting, to never give up. His small claws dig into the wet stone. His back legs push against the current. His front legs pull his body forward. It's the hardest thing he's ever done. It's harder than anything his young life has prepared him for. It's a battle against gravity, against the current, against his own body's desire to give up and surrender to the cold embrace of the water. Finally, gasping and trembling, he hauls himself completely out of the water and collapses on the rock. His tiny body heaves with effort. Water pours from his mouth and nose in torrents. His fur is plastered to his skin, making him look smaller and more fragile than ever. He's shaking uncontrollably, a violent, full-body tremor that he can't control and doesn't understand. His entire body is convulsing with the effort of trying to survive. He's out of the water, but barely alive. He's achieved survival, but only barely. He's won a temporary reprieve, but the battle is far from over. His mother can see him now from where she stands on the bank. She can see his small form on the rock, motionless except for the violent shaking. She can see that he's alive, but she also knows that being out of the water isn't salvation. It's just the beginning of a new nightmare. It's trading one form of death for another. It's exchanging drowning for hypothermia. The sun is beginning to set. The temperature is dropping rapidly. Night is coming, and with it will come the cold. A cold that's even more deadly than the cold of the water. The wet cub on the exposed rock will be subjected to temperatures that will continue to drop his body temperature. The hypothermia will continue its relentless work. Without intervention, without warmth, without help, He will die on that rock just as surely as he would have died in the water. Perhaps even more slowly, perhaps even more painfully. His mother understands this. She understands that her cub is still dying. She understands that the battle isn't over. It's only just beginning. She understands that the real challenge is still ahead. She understands that if she doesn't do something extraordinary, something unprecedented, something that no wolf has ever done before, her baby will be dead by morning. And she understands that she's the only one who can save him. She stares at her cub on the rock, separated from her by the raging river. She stares at the water that stands between them. She stares at the impossible distance that might as well be 1,000 miles. And then, as the sun sinks lower on the horizon and the shadows grow longer and the temperature begins to drop, she makes a decision that will change everything. A decision that will defy everything nature has taught her. A decision that will prove that a mother's love knows no boundaries. What she did next would shatter every scientific understanding of wolf behavior and create a moment so extraordinary that it would be discussed and debated for generations to come. The sun hangs low on the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and red and gold. The light is fading fast, and with it goes the warmth. The temperature is dropping degree by degree, and the cub on the rock is dying with it. His small body is still shaking violently, his wet fur offering no protection against the encroaching cold. His eyes are beginning to close. His breathing is becoming shallow. His heartbeat is slowing to a dangerous rhythm. His mother stands on the riverbank, watching her child slip away from her with every passing moment. She's tried everything a wolf can try. She's called out to him. She's run along the bank, searching for a way to reach him. She's paced back and forth, her mind racing, her body tense with the need to act. But the river stands between them, an impassable barrier of water and current and raw power. There is no way across, there is no bridge, there is no solution that nature has provided. The other wolves have arrived now. Her mate stands beside her, his powerful body rigid with tension. Her parents are there. Her siblings are there. The entire pack has gathered at the riverbank, drawn by her desperate cries. They understand what's happening. They can see that one of their own is dying. But they're helpless. They're all helpless. There is nothing any of them can do. Her mate turns to her, his eyes reflecting the fading light. He understands, without words, what she's thinking. He can see it in her face. He can read it in her body language. He knows his mate better than he knows himself. And he knows that she's about to do something extraordinary. Something that defies every instinct, every rule, every law of nature that governs wolf behavior. "You can't," he says, his voice low and urgent. "You know what will happen if you try." But she's not listening. She's not even hearing him. All she can focus on is her cub on the rock. All she can think about is the fact that he's still alive. He's still breathing, he's still fighting. And as long as he's fighting, she will fight too. She takes a step toward the water. "Don't," her mate says, his voice sharper now. "The current will take you. You know it will. You'll die, and then what? Then he loses his mother too." She pauses for just a moment. She knows he's right. She knows that if she enters that water, the current will likely sweep her away just as it swept her cub. She knows that she could die. She knows that she could leave her other cubs motherless. She knows that she could leave the pack without their matriarch. She knows all of this. And she doesn't care. She's a mother. That's all that matters. Everything else, her own survival, the survival of the pack, the laws of nature, the rules of the universe, all of it becomes insignificant when weighed against the life of her child. She's not thinking rationally. She's not weighing options. She's not making a calculated decision. She's acting on pure instinct. She's acting on love. She's acting on the most primal force that exists in nature, the will of a mother to protect her young. She takes another step toward the water. "I'm coming with you," her mate says, stepping up beside her. His voice is steady, resolved. He understands what she's about to do. He understands the danger. He understands the impossibility of it all. And he understands that he can't let her face it alone. She looks at him, and for a moment, their eyes meet. In that moment, they communicate something that words could never express. They communicate love. They communicate partnership. They communicate the fact that they're in this together. No matter what happens, no matter what the cost. Together, they step into the water. The cold hits them like a physical blow. It's shocking and brutal and immediate. The current wraps around them like invisible hands, pulling at them, trying to sweep them downstream. But they're stronger than the current. They're larger. They're more powerful. They have something that the cub didn't have. They have experience. They have strength. They have each other. They move slowly, deliberately, fighting against the current with every step. The water rises higher and higher, past their legs, past their bellies, past their chests. The current is trying to dislodge them, trying to knock them off their feet, trying to sweep them away. But they hold firm. They push forward. They refuse to be moved. The other wolves on the bank are silent, watching this impossible act of courage and desperation. They've never seen anything like this before. They've never witnessed a parent enter the raging river to save a drowning cub. It's not something that wolves do. It's not something that any animal does. It's unprecedented. It's extraordinary. It's a moment that will be remembered and passed down through generations. The cub sees his parents entering the water. His eyes, which had been closing, suddenly open wide. His body, which had been giving up, suddenly tenses. He's confused. He doesn't understand what's happening. But he understands that his parents are coming for him. He understands that he's not alone. He understands that he's not going to die on this rock. His mother and father are nearly to him now. The water is up to their necks. The current is at its strongest here, where the rapids are most intense. The rocks beneath their feet are slick and treacherous. One wrong step and they could both be swept away. One moment of weakness and the river could claim all three of them. But they don't stop. They don't hesitate. They push forward with a determination that seems almost supernatural. Finally, they reach the rock. The cub is huddled in the center, his small body barely visible beneath his wet fur. His mother reaches him first, her large body providing a barrier between him and the current. She lowers her head and gently nudges him, trying to encourage him to climb onto her back. But he's too weak. His muscles are too cold. His body won't respond to his commands. He tries to stand, but his legs collapse beneath him. He tries again, and again, he falls. His parents watch with growing desperation as their cub struggles to do something as simple as stand. His father moves beside him, using his larger body to shield the cub from the worst of the current. Together, his parents create a barrier, a wall of fur and muscle and love that protects him from the river. His mother nudges him again, and this time, with their help, he manages to climb onto her back. His small claws dig into her fur. His tiny body clings to her neck. Now comes the impossible part. Now they have to get back to shore. The current seems stronger now, as if the river knows what they're trying to do and is determined to stop them. The water pushes against them with renewed force. His father leads the way, his powerful body breaking through the current, creating a path for his mate and their cub to follow. His mother follows close behind, her body angled to shield their baby from the worst of the water. They move slowly, one step at a time. The rocks beneath their feet are treacherous. The current is relentless. The cold is stealing their strength with every passing second. But they push forward. They refuse to give up. They refuse to let the river win. Step by step, they move toward the shore. The water begins to get shallower. The current begins to weaken. They're going to make it. They're actually going to make it. And then disaster strikes. His father's foot slips on a rock. His body lurches to the side. For a moment, he loses his footing. The current immediately takes advantage, pulling at him, trying to sweep him away. His mate reaches out, trying to steady him, but she can't. She's carrying their cub. She can't let go. She can't risk losing him. For a moment, it seems like his father is going to be swept away. For a moment, it seems like the river is going to claim him after all. But then, with a tremendous effort, he regains his footing. His powerful legs push against the current. His body straightens. He's back on track. They continue forward. The water is getting shallower. They're almost there. They're so close. Finally, their feet touch solid ground. The shore is just ahead. The other wolves are waiting for them, their bodies tense with anticipation and fear and hope. His mother's legs are trembling with exhaustion. His father's breathing is ragged and desperate. But they're alive. All three of them are alive. They stumble out of the water and collapse on the shore. His mother immediately lies down, her body still shaking from the cold and the effort. His cub slides off her back and collapses beside her. His father stands guard over them, his body still alert despite his exhaustion. For a moment, there is silence. The only sound is the rushing of the river and the heavy breathing of the three wolves who have just survived the impossible. Then, slowly, the other wolves begin to move toward them. They gather around, their bodies pressing close, their warmth combining to create a shield against the cold. His mother's parents lie down on either side of her. Her siblings arrange themselves around the cub, creating a barrier of fur and warmth. His father stands at the edge of the group, still on guard, still protective. The cub is shaking violently, his body still fighting against the hypothermia. But he's alive. He's out of the water. He's surrounded by his family. He's going to survive. His mother licks his small face, her tongue rough and warm. She's cleaning the water from his fur. She's providing comfort. She's doing what mothers have done since the beginning of time. She's taking care of her baby. She's making sure that he knows he's loved. She's making sure that he knows he's safe. As the sun sets completely and darkness falls over the forest, the pack huddles together on the riverbank. The cub is nestled between his parents, their bodies providing warmth and protection. His small body is still shaking, but less violently now. His breathing is becoming more regular. His heart rate is stabilizing. He's going to live. Against all odds, against the indifferent forces of nature, against the raw power of the river, he's going to live. And it's because his mother refused to accept that there was no solution. It's because she refused to let the river have him. It's because she was willing to risk everything, her own life, her position in the pack, her safety, to save her baby. As the night deepens and the stars begin to appear overhead, the cub drifts into an exhausted sleep, his small body finally warm enough to rest. His mother watches over him, her eyes never leaving his face. She's still shaking slightly from the cold and the ordeal, but she doesn't care. Her baby is alive. Her baby is safe. Her baby is going to survive. That's all that matters. But survival was only the beginning. The real test, the test that would determine whether the cub would ever walk again, whether he would ever hunt again, whether he would ever be a normal wolf, was only just beginning. The night is long and cold and filled with the sounds of the forest. The distant call of owls, the rustling of small creatures in the underbrush, the ever-present sound of the river flowing past. The pack remains huddled together on the riverbank, their bodies pressed close, their combined warmth creating a shield against the dropping temperature. The cub sleeps fitfully between his parents, his small body occasionally jerking as his mind processes the trauma of what he's experienced. His mother doesn't sleep. She remains awake through the entire night, her eyes fixed on her baby's face, watching for any sign of distress, any indication that his condition is worsening. She can feel the slight tremors that still run through his body. She can feel his heart beating against her chest, still irregular, still struggling, but growing stronger with each passing hour. She's alert to every sound, every movement, every potential threat. Her maternal instincts are operating at maximum capacity, flooding her body with adrenaline and protective fury. His father remains awake as well, positioned at the edge of the group, his eyes scanning the darkness for any sign of danger. He's aware that the pack is vulnerable right now, that they're gathered in one place, huddled together, unable to move quickly if a predator approaches. But he knows that his mate and cub need this time to recover. He knows that leaving them would be abandonment. So he stays, alert and watchful, ready to defend his family with his life if necessary. As the first light of dawn breaks over the horizon, painting the sky in shades of purple and pink and gold, the cub's eyes flutter open. For a moment he just lies there, his small body still pressed against his mother's warmth. He doesn't move. He doesn't try to stand. He just breathes. And for the first time since he fell into the river, his breathing comes easily. His lungs are clear. His airway is open. He's alive. His mother's eyes open, and she looks down at her baby. She licks his face gently, her tongue rough and warm. She's checking him, assessing him, making sure that he's really awake and aware. The cub makes a small sound, not quite a whimper, not quite a growl, and his mother understands. He's in pain. His entire body aches. Every muscle is sore. Every bone feels like it's been broken and put back together wrong. The pack begins to stir as the sun rises higher. The other wolves stretch their legs, shake out their fur, begin the process of returning to normal. But the cub's family remains still, focused entirely on him. His father lowers his head and sniffs his son, his large nose gentle against the cub's small body. He's assessing the damage. He's checking for injuries. He's trying to determine if his baby is going to be okay. What he finds is not encouraging. The cub's body is covered in bruises, dark patches of discolored fur that mark where he crashed against rocks in the river. His left front leg is swollen, the joint puffy and tender. His ribs are sore, and his breathing is shallow because moving his chest causes pain. His ears are scraped raw, his nose is bleeding slightly. His entire body is a map of injuries. But worse than the physical injuries is what they can't see. The trauma to his nervous system, the damage to his muscles from the cold, the potential damage to his organs from the hypothermia, the psychological trauma of nearly drowning, the fear that will likely stay with him for the rest of his life. His mother knows all of this. She can read it in her cub's eyes. She can feel it in the way his body trembles. She knows that the battle isn't over. She knows that surviving the river was just the first step. Now comes the harder part, the long, slow process of recovery. As the sun climbs higher in the sky, the cub attempts to stand for the first time. His mother watches anxiously as he tries to push himself up onto his legs. His back legs respond, though weakly. His front legs try to follow, but his left front leg gives out immediately. He collapses back onto the ground with a small cry of pain. He tries again, and again he fails. His left front leg simply won't support his weight. The swelling is too severe. The pain is too intense. His muscles are too weak. His mother moves closer, her body providing support. His father stands nearby, ready to intervene if needed. The other pack members watch silently, understanding that something significant is happening. Understanding that the cub's survival now depends on whether he can recover his mobility. On the 5th attempt, the cub manages to stand on 3 legs. His left front leg is held up off the ground, bent at an awkward angle. He's hopping, essentially, moving in an unbalanced, painful way. But he's standing. He's moving. He's not giving up. His mother makes a low sound, not quite approval, not quite encouragement. But it's something. It's acknowledgement. It's recognition of her baby's determination. Over the next few days, the pack remains near the river. They don't hunt. They don't travel. They simply stay in one place, allowing the cub time to recover. His mother brings him food, small pieces of meat that she's pre-chewed to make them easier for him to eat. His father stands guard, making sure that no predators approach. The other pack members take turns keeping watch, ensuring that the family is protected while they focus on recovery. The cub's condition slowly, gradually, begins to improve. The swelling in his leg decreases. The bruises fade from dark purple to yellow, to green, to finally disappearing altogether. His breathing becomes deeper and more regular. His appetite returns. He begins to eat solid food on his own, though he still struggles with chewing because his jaw is sore. But his left front leg remains a problem. Days pass. A week passes. 2 weeks pass. The cub is now able to walk on all 4 legs, but his gait is wrong. He's limping severely, putting minimal weight on his left front leg. The joint is still swollen. The pain is still evident in the way he moves, in the way he winces with each step. His mother watches with growing concern. She understands that if his leg doesn't heal properly, if the damage is permanent, her cub's life will be forever changed. He'll never be able to hunt effectively. He'll never be able to keep up with the pack during long runs. He'll be vulnerable. He'll be weak. He'll be at a disadvantage compared to his siblings and the other cubs in the pack. The pack's alpha, the oldest and most experienced wolf, approaches his mate one morning. He's a large male, scarred from countless battles, wise from decades of survival. He looks at the cub and then at the mother, and his expression is grave. He may never fully recover, the alpha says quietly. The leg may never heal completely. You may need to make a difficult decision. The mother's eyes flash with anger. She understands what he's suggesting. In nature, in the wild, animals that can't keep up with the pack are sometimes left behind. Sometimes they're abandoned because they're a liability. Sometimes they're killed because they're suffering and there's no hope of recovery. But she refuses to accept this. She refuses to give up on her baby. She refuses to believe that his life is over just because his leg is injured. He will recover, she says firmly. He will be strong. He will be a great hunter. Just give him time. The alpha nods slowly, his ancient eyes reflecting understanding and compassion. He doesn't argue. He doesn't push. He simply accepts her determination and walks away. Over the next few weeks, something remarkable begins to happen. The cub, driven by his mother's unwavering belief in him, begins to push himself harder. He practices walking, he practices running, he practices jumping. Each time he falls, each time he fails, his mother is there to encourage him to try again. His siblings, who had been cautious around him, begin to play with him again. At first, they're gentle, careful not to aggravate his injuries. But as he heals, they become more aggressive, more competitive. They wrestle with him. They chase him. They push him to his limits. And slowly, imperceptibly, his leg begins to heal. The swelling decreases further. The pain lessens. His gait becomes less of a limp and more of a slight favoring of the right side. He's still not perfect. He's still not fully recovered. But he's improving. He's healing. He's defying the odds. One day, nearly a month after he fell into the river, the cub attempts something he hasn't tried since before the accident. He runs, not just walks, not just trots, but actually runs, his legs pumping, his body moving fast, his fur flowing behind him in the wind. He's limping still, but he's running. And for the first time since his ordeal, his mother sees hope. Real, genuine hope. The hope that her baby is going to survive. The hope that he's going to recover. The hope that he's going to have a full life ahead of him. She watches as he runs toward his father, his siblings, the other pack members. She watches as he plays and wrestles and chases and is chased. She watches as he becomes, once again, a normal cub, a normal wolf, a normal member of the pack. But she knows something that the others don't know. She knows that her baby is not normal. He's stronger than normal. He's more resilient than normal. He's more determined than normal. He's survived something that should have killed him. He's overcome an obstacle that should have been insurmountable. He's proven that the will to live, combined with a mother's love, can overcome even the most powerful forces of nature. As the sun sets on another day, casting long shadows across the forest, the cub sits beside his mother. His left front leg is still slightly weaker than his right, but it's functional. It's healing. It's strong enough to support him. His mother licks his face, her tongue rough and warm. She's proud of him. She's proud of his strength. She's proud of his determination. She's proud that he's her baby. The cub leans against her, his small body fitting perfectly against her larger frame. He's warm now. He's safe now. He's loved now. And that's all that matters. But as the darkness falls and the night begins, neither the mother nor the cub know that their ordeal is far from over. Neither of them knows that the river, the cold, the pain, all of it was just preparation for what's coming next. Neither of them knows that the real test of the cub's strength is still ahead. Neither of them knows that survival is only the beginning. The cub had survived the river. He had survived the cold. He had survived the pain. But the greatest challenge of his life was still waiting for him. A challenge that would test not just his body, but his very soul. The forest is alive with the sounds of autumn. Leaves fall in golden cascades from the trees, creating a carpet of color across the forest floor. The air is crisp and cool, carrying the scent of pine and earth and the approaching winter. The pack has moved away from the river now, traveling deeper into the forest where the hunting is better and the territory is safer. The cub, now nearly 4 months old, moves with the pack, his left front leg still slightly weaker than the others, but functional enough that he can keep up. On the surface, everything appears normal. The cub plays with his siblings. He learns to hunt. He participates in pack activities. He eats when food is available. He sleeps when the pack rests. To an outside observer, he would appear to be a completely normal, healthy young wolf. But his mother knows better. She sees what others don't see. She notices the way his eyes dart toward any source of water. She notices the way his body tenses whenever they approach a stream or creek. She notices the way his breathing becomes shallow and rapid when he hears the sound of rushing water. She notices the fear. The cub has nightmares. Every night as he sleeps, his body twitches and jerks. His paws paddle as if he's still fighting the current. Small whimpers escape from his throat. His mother lies awake beside him, watching, ready to comfort him if he wakes in terror. She understands what's happening. She understands that the trauma of nearly drowning has left a mark on his psyche that may never fully heal. One day, about 6 weeks after the incident, the pack comes to a small stream. It's shallow and slow-moving, nothing like the raging river that nearly killed the cub. But to the cub, it might as well be the same river. His entire body goes rigid. His fur stands on end. His eyes go wide with terror. His siblings wade into the water without hesitation, splashing and playing, enjoying the cool water on their fur. His father drinks from the stream, his powerful body completely at ease. The other pack members cross the water as if it's nothing, because to them, it is nothing. It's just water. It's just a stream. But the cub cannot move. He stands at the edge of the water, his body shaking, his breathing rapid and shallow. His mother comes to stand beside him, her large body providing comfort and support. She understands his fear. She understands that for him, this simple stream represents something far more sinister. It represents the moment when he almost died. It represents the cold. It represents the helplessness. It represents the terror. "You can do this," she says softly, though her words are more feeling than sound, more communication of emotion than actual language. "I'm right here with you. You're safe." But the cub doesn't believe her. His instincts are screaming at him to run, to flee, to get away from the water as fast as his legs can carry him. His body is flooded with adrenaline. His heart is racing. His mind is locked in a state of pure, primal fear. He tries to take a step forward. His front paw touches the water, and immediately he jerks it back as if the water is burning hot. He whimpers, a small, pathetic sound that breaks his mother's heart. His father notices what's happening. He approaches the cub, his large body moving slowly and deliberately. He's trying not to seem threatening. He's trying to appear calm and in control. He lowers his head and gently nudges his son toward the water. "Come," he says, his voice low and steady. "It's just water. You can do this." But the cub can't. His fear is too great. His trauma is too fresh. His mind is not yet ready to overcome what his body experienced in the river. Over the next few days, the pack tries to help the cub overcome his fear of water. They encourage him to wade into streams. They demonstrate that water is not dangerous. They show him that they can cross water safely and easily. But nothing helps. The cub's fear remains absolute and all-consuming. His mother becomes increasingly concerned. She understands that in the wild, an animal that's afraid of water is at a severe disadvantage. Water is everywhere in the forest. Streams must be crossed. Rivers must be navigated. Rain must be endured. If the cub can't overcome his fear of water, his life will be severely limited. One night, as the pack rests near another stream, the cub's nightmares become particularly intense. He's thrashing in his sleep, his body convulsing, his cries becoming louder and more desperate. His mother wakes him gently, licking his face, trying to bring him back to consciousness. The cub's eyes snap open, and for a moment, he doesn't know where he is. For a moment, he thinks he's still in the river, still drowning, still dying. He scrambles to his feet, his body in a state of complete panic. He runs blindly into the darkness, away from his mother, away from the pack, away from everything familiar. His mother runs after him, calling to him, trying to bring him back. His father joins her, both parents running through the forest in the darkness, searching for their terrified cub. The other pack members follow, understanding that something is wrong, that the cub is in distress. They find him a quarter-mile away, huddled against a large tree, his entire body shaking with terror and exhaustion. He's covered in scratches from running through the underbrush. His breathing is ragged and desperate. His eyes are wild with fear. His mother approaches slowly, carefully, trying not to startle him further. She lies down beside him, her large body providing warmth and comfort. Gradually, over the course of an hour, the cub's breathing slows. His shaking decreases. His eyes begin to close. But he doesn't sleep. He remains awake through the rest of the night, his body tense, his mind alert to any sound, any movement, any potential danger. As dawn breaks, the pack gathers around the cub. The alpha approaches, his ancient eyes reflecting concern and something else. Something that might be pity, or might be the recognition that this cub's journey is going to be more difficult than the journeys of other cubs. He's broken, one of the older females says quietly. The river broke something inside him. He may never fully recover. The mother's eyes flash with anger. She stands between her cub and the other wolves, her body language making it clear that she will defend him against any criticism, any judgment, any suggestion that he's somehow less than the other cubs. He's not broken, she says firmly. He's traumatized. But he will heal. He will overcome this. Just give him time. But even as she says the words, she's not entirely sure she believes them. She's beginning to understand that some wounds run deeper than others. Some scars are invisible, but no less real. Some damage can't be healed with time and love alone. Over the next few weeks, the cub's behavior becomes increasingly erratic. He's jumpy and anxious. He startles at sudden sounds. He's aggressive with his siblings in a way that seems disproportionate to their playful wrestling. He's withdrawn and quiet at times, and then suddenly explosive and violent at other times. His mood swings are unpredictable and intense. His mother watches all of this with growing concern. She's beginning to understand that the cub has experienced something that goes beyond simple physical trauma. He's experienced psychological trauma. He's experienced something that has fundamentally altered the way his brain processes fear and danger and safety. One afternoon, as the pack is hunting, something unexpected happens. A rabbit bolts from the underbrush, and the younger wolves give chase, including the cub. He's running faster than he has since the incident at the river. His legs are pumping, his body is focused, his mind is completely absorbed in the hunt. For the first time since nearly drowning, he's not thinking about water. He's not thinking about fear. He's not thinking about trauma. He's just thinking about the hunt. He's just thinking about survival in the most basic, primal way. The rabbit darts toward a small stream. The same kind of stream that has terrified the cub for the past weeks. But in the heat of the hunt, the cub doesn't hesitate. He plunges into the water, chasing the rabbit across the shallow stream. The water splashes around him, but he doesn't stop. He doesn't panic. He doesn't freeze in terror. He emerges on the other side of the stream, still chasing the rabbit, his body moving with purpose and determination. The rabbit escapes into a burrow, and the cub stops, breathing heavily, his body covered in water and mud. And then, slowly, something shifts inside him. He realizes what just happened. He realizes that he just crossed water. He realizes that he didn't die. He realizes that the water didn't kill him. He realizes that he can do this. His mother watches from a distance, her eyes reflecting a complex mixture of emotions: pride, relief, hope, and something else that might be the beginning of peace. The cub looks back at the stream that he's been terrified of for weeks. He looks at the water that he just crossed, and then, deliberately, he walks back into the stream. He wades through the shallow water. He feels the current against his legs, and he doesn't panic. He stands in the middle of the stream, his body trembling slightly, but not from fear, from something else. From the realization that he's stronger than his fear. From the understanding that he can face the things that terrify him and survive. From the knowledge that his trauma doesn't have to define him. His mother approaches and stands beside him in the stream. Together, they stand in the water. And for the first time since the incident, the cub feels something like peace. Not complete peace, not total healing, but a beginning, a small step toward recovery, a moment of hope in the darkness of his trauma. As the sun begins to set, casting long shadows across the forest, the cub and his mother stand together in the stream. The water flows around them, cool and clean and alive. The cub's breathing has returned to normal. His body has stopped shaking. His eyes are clear and focused. He's still not fully healed. He's still carrying the scars of his trauma. He's still going to have nightmares and moments of fear and times when the memory of nearly drowning threatens to overwhelm him. But he's beginning to understand that he can live with those things. He can move forward despite them. He can be strong even when he's afraid. And that's the beginning of true recovery. But overcoming his fear of water was only the beginning of the cub's journey toward healing. The real test would come when he faced something far more dangerous than any river. When he faced the pack's greatest enemy and discovered that his trauma had given him a strength that no other wolf possessed.